Hello, I am back and I wanted to do something a little bit different today, a little bit different to what I normally do. So apart from the sari content, I am expecting at the moment, which means that I've tried to lay off the really heavy crafts and instead try and get through a couple of small projects just before the little one arrives. One of them that I have been thinking about for a long time is sorting this corner out so that I can make a little play area and putting up a little bit of artwork and things like that, and then just changing it over as they grow so that they feel like part of the house. And so the first thing that I thought of doing was a height chart, which I've seen so much in the movies and I've always wanted to do one, but I've always thought that if we don't stay here, I'd be really sad if I can't move it with me. So today I'm going to be making one out of fabric, and so that I can hopefully move it around the house and also take it with me if I were to go somewhere. This is quite a low maintenance project, so I didn't really need to buy too many things. I first picked up this magnetic frame to hold the fabric at the top and the bottom, and I actually love these for hanging art because they're really lightweight and you can swap pieces out quite easily, which is perfect for me because I like to change things around a lot. The fabric I chose is this lightweight linen, and it looked like it would be quite nice to work with and wouldn't give me too many problems, hopefully. And then when I looked in my box of old fabrics, I found that I had these colourful bias bindings that I bought in Japan a few years ago, and I've been waiting for the right project to use them for. So I had a look through them and went with this dark floral one because I thought the contrast would look really nice and make the piece pop. Bias binding luckily just wraps around the edge of the fabric, so I don't have to fold or finish the edges, which is honestly always a win for me. Anything that's making my life easier is going to be used. Okay, so I've somehow managed to seat myself on the floor. Not sure how I'm going to get back up again, not a problem. I'll start by cutting out the fabric and measuring that all up. So I will need that a little bit smaller than the frame width. This one is, let's have a look, 21 centimeters. So I think if we do 20 and see how we go, that should work out quite well. I've got one of these heat pens that rubs out when you use an iron on it, so that works quite well. And I'm just going to mark up one side here from the edge. So it's always good to use this edge here because I know that that one's straight. Is it called a salvage edge? I think so. So I think what I'm going to do is cut off the salvage edge bit and then go from there. So I'm just going to mark up where is 20 centimeters from the edge. And then keep making little marks all the way along so that hopefully I get a straight piece of material. But most of the time when I have a go at this, I never do. One good thing about using bias binding actually is that you don't have to turn the edge. You can sort of use the bias binding to cover the edge or wrap the edge, which makes this a little bit easier, a little bit of a quicker project than normal. Okay, so now that I have marked all of that, I'm just going to use that as a reference to cut along the edge here now and hope that it's straight. I should really have drawn a line through all of these dots, but I am quite impatient and I like to cut corners and then deal with the problems later. Okay, so we've got one piece of fabric there. To make the full height, I'll need another one of these, so I'm just going to repeat what I've just done. Okay, so now I have got 2 pieces, and then what I need to do is take them over to the sewing machine so that I can join these together with a seam. So I'm going to start doing that. Okay, so I've got down to my sewing table, and I just actually need to straighten out these edges here and these frayed bits before I sew them together. So I'm just going to try and make this as straight as I can. Which is easier said than done, actually. Okay, that one looks much better. And then I'm going to do the same for the other side that's going to be joining. You can see it's much straighter than this one here. Looking much better now, so I just need to bring these 2 together. I'm thinking maybe, I wonder if a French seam or something like that would work best. Maybe, we'll have a go. Okay, so now that we've cut those pieces, I just need to put those 2 sides together here like this and sew down probably about 1/2 centimetre away from the edge. So just make sure they're edge to edge there. And I usually use clips to hold that together because it's a lot easier, so let me just do that now. Just make sure it's all lined up nicely. And one on the end. Okay, so once that's done, it looks a little bit like that with the stitching down the side. We'll take off these extra bits of thread here. And then once you open that up, there we go, the 2 sides are together. The thing with linen type of fabric is that you can already see it's sort of fraying here. So what the French seam aims to do is to then turn this on itself again. So now that you've got the seam there, you want to, I don't know if this is easy to see, but turn it on itself and do that again where you sandwich this little bit inside. I'm not focusing properly, but I'm going to cut away a little bit of the edge here close to the sewing line, and then I'm going to fold it on itself and then sew that line in again. Cut a little bit closer to the edge, and then with this we're going to turn it inside out. And probably would help to clip it all again along the side and then sew down. Okay, so I've pinned that all along, and then now I'm just going to sew to try and sandwich that free edge in. Okay, so here on a flat surface you can see the seam a little bit better. So this is on the right side of the fabric here, and then on the wrong side that seam is all sandwiched in, so no chance of fraying there. Looks a lot neater. Okay, so in terms of getting the bias binding along the edges here, what we'll probably need to do is wrap it around and pin as we go along. So bias binding basically has this edge on the inside, and then you sandwich the fabric in between the two sides there. So if I'm going to try and keep this as central as possible. And then once I've got a few of them on here, we shouldn't have too many problems getting it through the sewing machine and then folding it as we go along. So let's have a go at that. Now that I've done all the way along the side here, I've got just about enough to make sure I can do this small edge here. So without cutting it, I'm just going to lie this flat. This is going to be the hardest bit to show, I think. I'm just going to open this bit out, lie it flat against the top part, and then pinch it down into a corner. So again, this will probably be better held with a little clip while I sew it down. Okay, and it should look a little bit like this, like a little point. And hopefully we get to the end without running out of fabric, which I think we might just about be able to do here. Yeah. Not gonna lie, I did not do this well because I didn't catch the fabric inside. So we're gonna have to do this again. Let's unpick it. So I am on day 2 of making this height chart, and I'm pretty happy with how it's going. I've managed to put the bias binding on the edge and it makes it look really playful. Next thing I need to do is put the numbers all up the side here, so I'm just going to show you how I did that today, but I'll give you a close-up first. Is pretty similar to how we did the measuring last time. I just need to decide how far from the edge I'd like the marking, so let's do probably about 3 centimeters, looks about right. I'm going to mark 3 centimeters away from the border edge all the way along. Probably 3 from the bottom as well, just to make it all even. And then I'm just going to join those up with a line here so that when I'm sewing I can actually see what I'm doing. I finished running that on the machine now, and so we've got one straight line here. I probably do need to sort of iron it out a little bit. I might do that after I've done the increments, I think would be better. I'm going to try and use some normal thread, so rather than embroidery thread, just some normal sewing thread and see how we go. Just so I can keep it a similar thickness to the line that I've done here. I haven't really got a particular font or anything in mind. I think it's just going with what feels, looks a bit more playful and childish, so however this goes really. Okay, so I think I'm gonna try and do a chain stitch. I don't know whether that's gonna come out a little bit better, but we'll have a go. Everybody else needs to be. Okay, I've got myself a little bit tangled here on this last bit. Let's just figure out that's gonna, yeah, perfect. Okay. That's pretty cute actually with the chain stitch, so I might keep that. And then just need to tie that off on the end. And then now I just have many more of the same thing to do. So here is what the first one looks like. And then just need to add the 10cm increments as I go along. I am pretty much done. I've done a few of the numbers from the bottom here, but I think the rest of them I'll need to spend a few evenings adding them on. But this is what the final thing looks like. And as I add the heights on, I'll probably do them yearly and add them in a slightly different colour. And then I was thinking next to, within that area, so within the area where let's say they've grown from here to here, I'll just embroider a few bits that they liked that year. So favourite foods, favourite toys, that kind of thing. And very much looking excited to filling it out.